Welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
Oh, yeah, it's the Funky Town by Lip Sync. And guess what? We're going to get funky here this afternoon on the Sports Corner show. Myself, Ralph Williams, and my co-host, Smokin' Jim Frazier. Smokin' Jim, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one, buddy.
All right. Today, you will not see my face today. I'm having an eye issue, and I had to get some work done with my eye. So I'm having some issues. So you will not see my face, but you will hear my voice. So that's the best part of it all, is at least you'll hear my voice, not my. You won't see my face today. Coming up shortly here, we have Keith Platt joining us from Platt's Point of View, formerly of PCTV. Keith is gonna talk with us about some sports, and then also we're gonna check in with him to update you on what he's up to with Platt's Point of View. All right. In the meantime, we're going to get to my rant here. My rant is simple today, and that is this: that everyone thought that Pitt was going to blow out California with that offense this Saturday. But let me say this: California made some adjustments in the second half, and they were able to keep Pitt at bay to where they couldn't even run their offense the right way they wanted to run it. All right. Their defense was phenomenal in the second half of the game. Let me say this to Pitt: if you're going to run that go offense that Cade Bell has, you better keep it high octane and keep it moving, because you might not squeak out 17-15 like you did against Cal. And that's my rant for today. Smokin' Jim's wisdom.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. I'll tell you what, man, I've been so impressed with Justin Fields. I think that he's proven to me that he could be the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. But my favorite quarterback of all time, Brett Favre, used to say, any quarterback can throw the football and hit the door. Said the good quarterbacks can throw and hit the doorknob. The great quarterbacks can put it through the keyhole. And at one time, Russell Wilson was able to put it through the keyhole. And I would really like to see what our offense and our passing game and our receivers would look like with Russell Wilson back there. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I know that I trust that Justin Fields is our future. But right now, we got a Hall of Fame quarterback for one season, and I would like to see what Russell Wilson does in this offense, and I'm hoping it would be Sunday night.
All right. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call Mata. You ought to call Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. They're our studio sponsor. Okay, Keith Platt, our guest today, was brought to you in part by the original Hometown Pizza, 412-264-4444, the original Hometown Pizza. All right, everybody, let's get ready for our guest today, who happens to be Keith Platt from Platt's Point of View. Keith, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me. What's up, Ralph? What's up, Smokin' Jim?
You should be saying award-winning Platt. Yeah, what's up, brother?
The award-winning. That's it, man. That's it. He's won.
Appreciate y'all, man. Hey, if they don't know, they're gonna get to know.
No, you got it. Keith, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. I know your program was once on PCTV. There's some of us producers are trying to save it so you can put your program back on, and we can all put our programs back on. Next Monday, we have a meeting with Deputy Mayor Jake Pollock of the city of Pittsburgh, and I want to thank him because we have a meeting with him next week at 2:00 down at the mayor's office to see if we could try to salvage PCTV. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in a Hill District, man, and went to Brashear High School, graduated, went to Lackawanna Junior College for football, coming out of Brashear or whatever, you know what I mean? Went there, that didn't go the way I was playing, came back, start working, start having a real knack. I always had a crazy sports mind and knowledge. So finally I put it together, and that's how we came up with Platt's point of view, and been grinding and trying to make it since then, man. Also used to cover football and pit football and basketball for Urban Media Today too, man. Shout out to Trevin Jones and those guys, man. My man Ray Porter and them. So yeah, now just trying to get Platt's point of view off the ground, and like you said, hopefully we can salvage this and we can get back over PCTV, man, and continue coming up with good creative content, man, for everybody in the area to see.
Absolutely. And also, I want to make a radio talk show host in town here eat it, because he made some derogatory comments about, I asked him to help us with PCTV, and he disrespected the station, disrespected us. And
hold up. Who is this? Who you talking about?
A radio talk show host.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He's going to remain anonymous.
Well, I will later on. I will send it to you, and I'll tell you who it is.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy.
Smokin Jim knows wwho it is. I think I told Smokin Jim.
That's crazy.
But anyway, we're going to keep it anonymous. But yeah, he decided that he said no money. It'll never get back up and running. I asked him to help us out, and he wouldn't help us. So you know what? I'm going to make him eat it. So next week. But anyway, Keith, I brought you on today. I know you like to talk sports. We can get into the Steelers a little bit and the Pitt Panther football team. I know the Steelers, they ended up winning this week 33-13. It was a great game against the Las Vegas Raiders. What were your thoughts on this game, more or less?
Man, I looked at I think Najee Harris had a breakout game, man. And if you know Najee Harris, he's known to be a late starter, man. He's always a late cook in the kitchen, man. But that's not a problem. And the defense is awesome, man. I mean, you talk about those two additions, man, with the Dante Jackson kid and Deshaun Elliott, man. They got the secondary playing lights out, man. Them dudes are tacklers. They're ball hawks. They got good instincts, and I really like the trajectory of the defense. We're supposed to get Alex Highsmith back this week. We'll see what happens on that front. But also, man, I still think that the Steelers should have they got to make a play for a receiver, man. I don't understand. You got Amari Cooper went to the Bills earlier. Devontae Adams just went to the Jets. I mean, it's still some good receivers out here, man. And I think the Steelers, they need to make a move, man. Like, we're good, but I think we could be better if they go get some wide receiver help.
Oh, absolutely. Smokin Jim, you want to chime in on this here? What's your thoughts on the game on Sunday?
Yeah, just two things, Platt. One, would you look into getting Mike Williams from the Jets? And number two,
no.
moving forward, who would be your quarterback for the Steelers?
Okay, moving forward, I probably would, and a lot of people probably don't like this because we've had debates, me and my buddies. I'm probably going to stick with Justin Fields, man. I understand the passing game still is lacking somewhat, but he can only do with what's out there, like the Bears got Caleb Williams, all those weapons. The Steelers should have did that for Justin Fields, man. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously they didn't know he was going to be the starter and we'd be in this position. But after the third, fourth game, man, you got to go get that boy some help. And that goes for whoever's the quarterback. You got to go get him some help, man. And what was the other question?
Would you go after Mike Williams from the Jets?
No, Mike Williams is brittle. I just told my friend this, Smokin Jim, see if you agree. It seems like every time every time, and it's something about these Clemson receivers, man. But it seems like every time Mike Williams jumps up and comes down, you hold your breath, man. He has a back injury. He broke a bone, his arm, his shoulder, his neck, his back. Like Mike Williams, he's good, but he's always injury prone. He's always getting hurt, and I wouldn't want him because as soon as he catches a deep ball, you're holding your breath, hoping he gets up and hoping he don't got to go see the chiropractor.
Or go to the blue tent, more or less.
Oh man, preach.
You know what I mean? So, but anyway, basically, I thought that the Las Vegas Raiders kind of beat themselves this Sunday. I mean, they were committing a lot of turnover. Well, of course, our defense was the ones who were committing the turnovers or helping them to turn the ball over. But there were some things that I think they did on defense that made them beat themselves. And then on top of that, the block punt and everything else. If the Steelers could play a little more of a complete game, Platt, I believe, and Smokin' Jim, I believe the Steelers could probably salvage the rest of the tough part of their schedule this season. Your thoughts on it? We'll start with you, Platt, because you're our guest.
Yeah, man. Like I said, the Steelers, they need some wide receiver help. Also, man, and I know Cam Sutton comes back in a couple weeks. Why do we always give these little nickelbacks a chance? Mike Hilton, 5'8", Beanie Bishop, 5'9". I mean, they're good players, but they're not the answer, man. All you got to do, you put a big 6'6" tight end like Dawson Knox for the Bills, and they're throwing the ball right over their head, man. You got to get a taller nickel back, man. I don't understand why they didn't bring back Chadden Sullivan. I thought he was adequate at best. I didn't think he was a monster, but I thought he was okay. You know what I mean? These dudes, they're tough. Yeah. They're tough. I think they got good intangibles. You know what I mean? Obviously, they wouldn't be in the NFL, but as far as like from like a size standpoint, I think we're at a disadvantage. You know what I mean? And hopefully Cam Sutton gets back and we can upgrade that nickelback spot, man. And also, I'm gonna ask y'all this, man. What do y'all think of the Steelers trying to get a receiver like a guy? And this is a sleeper, man. Nobody's talking about this dude, and I don't understand why the Texans don't use him. There's a guy in Houston named John Mechie III. He played with Bryce Young, put up crazy numbers. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with leukemia, and nobody has really been able to see this kid play because the Texans, they got Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. Their receivers are loaded, man. So I looked at their depth chart, and
I like Tank Bell.
Yeah, he's still not getting no playing time. So I'm just wondering, if you're the Steelers, why not put in a flyer and see what the Texans want for John Mechie III, man? Because I think he could come to Pittsburgh and he could be an asset to the offense.
Absolutely. What do you think, Smokin' Jim?
Well, I guess I'm in the minority because I like our number 2 receivers. Number 1, I think we got phenomenal tight ends, especially if you cut Cam Hayward off the team. I think we got good tight ends. The wide receivers just not getting good. I think Van Jefferson has always seemed to be open. They don't seem to be getting the ball to him. I like Scotty Miller. I think Roman Wilson's coming back. I think before the season's over, he's going to make some noise. And don't forget about Chad Johnson's cousin, Brandon Johnson, who had a few catches a couple of weeks ago. I don't believe he played this last game. He got some real nice size. So I'm not opposed to I'm the only one on the planet that predicted the Steelers would go to the Super Bowl this year. I lifted the curse that they had on their franchise since they backstabbed Santonio Holmes. I said they would never win another Super Bowl, and they haven't. But I lifted that curse this year because of Russell Wilson, and I like the weapons that we have.
All right. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. You're watching the Sports Corner Show here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch platforms. I know you can't see my face today. I have an issue with my eye, and I'm seeing with one eye, and I have my wife here helping me to read some things here. I had to cancel Sunday shows. And last night's the way we see it because of this eye situation. I'm getting straightened out in the next couple of days. So you'll be seeing my R on here, which is my name and everything, but you won't see my face for the next couple of days as I do the rest of the shows here for RW Media Productions. And also Keith Platt here. Our guest is brought to you by the original Hometown Pizza, Noon Township, right on University Boulevard. 412-264-4444. Hey, on your way to the airport or something, why don't you stop by the original Hometown Pizza, check them out, go in, get a pizza, tell them Ralph Williams sent you, you'll get a discount on your order. And every Tuesday's Double Stack Tuesday, you get 2 pizzas for the price of 1. And also the discount when you mention my name. And also delivery and eat-in and takeout are available. So call 412-264-4444. Okay, let's talk about the Pitt football game Saturday against Cal. They had a great first half, I thought, but the second half, I was at Smokin, Jim and I were at a wrestling event, so I didn't get to really see much of the second half. But the second half, the offense didn't score any kind of points. But, of course, California didn't score any points either. So Pitt ended up winning 17-15. I'm going to say this, Keith, and I've said this many times. It's better to be lucky than good. Pitt got lucky this weekend. So, I mean, they were good, but they got lucky. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Win by 2, 17-15 against California. Since you're our guest, Keith, we'll start with you first. You go ahead.
I thought the defense turned it up in the second half, man. And offense, a quarterback is. And yeah, California kind of stepped up this passing game, but I don't think too many teams are going to have enough D-backs to cover all those wide receivers, man. And they kind of remind me of the Houston Oilers back in the day, man, with Hayward Jeffries and Drew Hill and Webster Slaughter and Curtis Duncan and those guys. Like, Pitt got a lot of depth at wide receiver, man. It's going to be hard to stop those guys. And I think Pitt and SMU are on a collision course. Nobody's talking about SMU, man. The Texas boys, they can play some football. And I think them and Pitt are like going to be battling for that top dog in the ACC. I think it's the Coastal Conference those guys are in. They're going to be battling for that, man. But that was a great win by Pitt. And how about Desmond Reed, man? The dude he's tough as nails, man. He reminds me of Fort Gunn, man, in the Pitt jersey. And I think he is the X factor everything for Pitt. He was going.
All right, we lost Keith there. Smokin, Jim, your thoughts on this Pitt game this Saturday, from this past Saturday?
Well, like you always say, Ralph, and I always give you credit for saying that it's better to be lucky than good. I thought the quarterback was horrible for Pitt this past weekend. Everybody keeps saying he's a freshman. He's not a freshman. He's a sophomore. He's a redshirted freshman. He's been in college 2 years. But, Pitt got lucky to win. I thought that California quarterback was, horrible. But I tell you what, man, Pitt is out there, I think, for the first time this late in the season since 1981 that Pitt and Penn State are both undefeated, and it's an exciting time in college football for the state of Pennsylvania.
All right, Keith, we got you back here on the air here. We'll wrap up with you soon. Here we'll get further opinion with you on the Pitt football game. Go ahead. You were talking about Desmond Reed before you went off the air a little bit.
Yeah, I said Desmond Reed. He's the X factor, man. I think the Panthers feed off of him. And it wouldn't surprise me that he's player.
Okay, well, we lost Keith.
Yeah, Reed is
your voice there. I hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, Desmond Reed's the X factor, man. You can utilize him in a lot of ways, man. And I think Pitt got like to get a bottle with this kid, man.
I think we lost him again. Well, we lost his voice there. His connection's not real good. You there, Keith?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead. You were breaking up there for a minute.
Okay, I'm sorry, man. I don't know what's going on with the connection. But, yeah, I was saying Desmond Reed's the X factor. Pitt got lightning in a bottle with that kid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think that they are, they're going to go a long way with him. The good news is we have a weapon like that because and Poppy Williams and Lee, the kid from Western Carolina with Kate Bell. I think we have some good weapons there that they're getting their opportunities, to do what they need to do. and I like it, and I think that it's gonna work out for Pitt as well. Thank you very much, Keith, for being part of the program today. Uh, and I want to invite you to come back on another time. I have another guest coming up later on, and we have a couple other things we have to do. I keep you on for a little longer here, but thanks for coming on and joining us, and good luck in your future endeavors. And I hope that you find a way to get your show back on air, because you had a really good show, Keith. You really do.
I appreciate you, man. I'll see you guys Monday.
Okay, yeah, Monday I'll be at the at that meeting at 2:00 with the Deputy Mayor Jake Pollock. Smokin' Jim, you have anything more you want to add or say to Keith?
Yeah, you won't see me Monday, but yeah, good luck.
You know, like the Little River Band, like the Little River Band says, I'll be home on a Monday. So there you go. Smokin' Jim's going to be at his home on a Monday. There you go. All right. Have a good one, Keith. Thanks for being part of the program. That was Keith Platt, part of our Double Keith Day. We have Keith Engle coming up at 4:30. I just heard from him, so he's going to be coming up with us at 4:30. Keith Engle from the TGI Sports Network, big supporter of the program, big promoter of our program as well. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. All right. When we come back, we're gonna talk with you. Or when we come back, we're gonna have the fake Mike Tomlin press conference coming up, and a whole lot more. So stay right here. You need an auto repair place that repairs your car at the right way, the right price, and doesn't take you to the cleaners. Well, how about Big Dogs Auto on Buttermilk Hollow Road near the Allegheny County Airport? Call them today, 412-999-0191. Big Dogs Auto. I got to tell you, Big Dog Auto, I went there for state inspection and brakes. They fixed my car. They did it right, and they didn't charge me a lot of money. And get this as well, they are very nice to deal with as well. Sometimes you get these repair shops, they want to take you to the cleaners. So don't go there to those shops. Go to Big Dog Auto instead. 412-999-0191. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you. And also, they're on Buttermilk Hollow Road in West Mifflin, right by the Allegheny County Airport. All right, ladies and gentlemen, RW Media Productions presents the fake Mike Tomlin press conference. And now, the fake Mike Tomlin. All right, we're here today. We just came off of a great win. I think the guys did quite well and put everything that they had to put into this game. We ended up winning. The Las Vegas Raiders kind of beat themselves a little bit this week. Antonio Pierce, he offered me a piece of chewing gum at the end of the game. Told me I needed to chew on this because I wasn't sure if the win was going to be the right one. But when we were done, I treated everybody to Burger King in Las Vegas before we got on the plane. And I think that our team did quite well for what we had to work with, But I think we're coming into, with the Jets here. They have a new coach and a new interim coach in York. He's not a bad coach. I think he's working his way into the head coaching tree. We have to deal with Aaron Rodgers, and then so sorry to hear about what he did to Robert Saleh, and then we have to deal with now they have Devontae Adams and some other weapons, so we can't take this team lightly, despite the fact they've had some tribulations. We'll let participation be our guide this week with Russell Wilson, and we'll see where we're going to go from there. All right, I'll take questions. The guy over here with the Kango hat.
Hey, Coach Tomlin. Last week you prepared for Devontae Adams, and you got to prepare for him this week. And throughout your career, have you ever had to prepare for one player 2 weeks in a row?
Not that I'm aware of, though. But I will say we'll prepare with what we have to prepare for and with. And these are the things that happen in football, and we have to go with it. That's the nature of the game. It's about playing ball. And that's what we're going to do. And our guys, I think, are ready for this week's game. And I think we're going to get ready. And Justin Fields will be our starting quarterback. Russell Wilson will participate in first game reps. I'll make a decision as to whether or not we're going to continue with Justin, but it's looking that way. All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you. Okay. That was the fake Mike Tomlin press conference. And Smokin' Jim, let's get your boxing report. Smokin' Jim's boxing report is brought to you in part by here. Robin Campbell Insurance. Call Robin today, 412-366-3399. Robin Campbell Insurance. He has all types of insurance you need: car, fire, home, life insurance. Call him today. Farmers Insurance, Bristol West. Robin Campbell, 412-366-3399. I've been dealing with Robin Campbell for 15 years. You should too. Tell him Ralph Williams sent you. All right, RXJ says hello, Ralph. RXJ, sorry you can't see my face today because I'm having an eye issue, and so I choose not to come on the air because I have this eye issue going on. So I just want to let you know that. But thank you, RXJ, as always, for participating in the program and your comments as well. Okay, go ahead, Smokin' Jim, with your boxing report.
Well, I tell you what, man, we talked about it on your radio show, 12:50 a.m. The Answer out of Pittsburgh, and I tell you, Ralph, man, the biggest fight coming up, and this will be in November. And November is just right around the corner. Is Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, and I tell you what, I love the Paul brothers. And I think the Paul brothers are great for combat sports, whether it's wrestling or boxing. And I tell you what, it's very intriguing. A lot of people think Mike Tyson, I think you're one of them, is going to knock Jake Paul into next week. And I'm one of the few that thinks that Jake Paul is going to knock Mike Tyson out and knock him out early. So it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be exciting for a lot of people who've never seen Mike Tyson fight. They're too young. He was already retired by the time they were born. They get to they get to see the legend fight, one of the all-time great fighters in heavyweight history. But I think he goes down face down against the tough Jake Paul.
All right. Well, you know what, Smokin' Jim, I tend to, I agree on both angles on this. I do like Mike Tyson. And I'd like to see Mike Tyson try to do a few things here in this fight. But as Claudio and Luther have said, all he has to do is get one big punch in there. And you watched the Rocky movies, didn't you? Have you watched the Rocky movies, right?
All of them.
Well, all you needed, all Rocky needed to do was what? One punch, and he stirred up a stew pot with Paulo Creed. I mean, that's true. That's all Mike Tyson needs to do in this fight. And we'll see what happens. We'll see where Mike Tyson is. I know his training regimen, he's been kind of tired out, and they said, and things like that. And he's had some health issues, but we'll see what happens when the fight comes up. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Steelers today, Smokin' Jim. And we're going to talk about Devontae Adams with Keith Engle when he gets on the air here. Injuries, Zach Frazier, an ankle injury. Ryan McCullough will fill in this game. I thought Ryan did a pretty decent job filling in for him on Sunday. There were no bad snaps or nothing. So, but and I'm not taking nothing away from Zach Frazier. But anyway, we signed Lance McCutcheon, wide receiver from the Jets today, to the practice squad. So we'll see. I don't know much about Lance McCutcheon. Maybe you do, but I don't. But they have a 4-2 record, the Steelers. They play New York Jets this Sunday, 8:20 p.m. Sunday Night Football. We will not be on with the post-game show. We do not do the post-game shows on the night games. And then the following week, we will not be on because we're on Monday Night Football against the New York Giants. So we're playing both New York or New Jersey teams, as they call them, Smokin' Jim, because they play in New Jersey. Your thoughts on this game coming up against the Jets?
Well, I tell you what, man. Aaron Rodgers impressed me against Buffalo. I thought he started throwing the ball a lot better. I thought he was spreading the ball around. I thought his receivers stepped up. I thought the running game stepped up. And now that he gets maybe his favorite weapon of all time, Devontae Adams, who should be able to play here against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think that hamstring will heal up quickly. I think that the Jets should be favored to win the football game, especially if Russell Wilson doesn't play.
Okay. We're going to go to our guest who is here joining us with TGI Sports Network, and we are going to be joined by Keith Engle. Keith, welcome to the program. It's great to have you.
Hello, Ralph. Hello, Smokin Jim. How are you?
Hey, my man Keith, what's going on?
We're doing good, Keith. Thank you. So, all right. Keith ENGLE was brought to you in part by DraftNation.com. Go on their website, DraftNation.com. They have some great shows they're putting on, and they also are some great podcasts that they put on there, and as well as they give you all the skinny and information you need in regards to any type of draft, whether it's the NHL, Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, any kind of draft, all kinds of knowledge. DraftNation.com as well, and it's $9.99 a month for the subscription, and you'll get it in your inbox, in your email, a e-magazine that tells you everything you need to know about all different types of players all across the sporting world. Okay, Keith ENGLE from TGI Sports. Great to have you today again, Keith. I'm sorry my face is not up here. I'm having an eye issue, and so I'm keeping my face off the air today. So
No worries. Hope you feel better.
Thank you. Smokin Jim, say hello to Keith.
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Hello again, Smokin Jim.
All right.
All right, Keith.
So anyway, hang on a minute. Let's go to the comment section real quick here. I know some of Keith's audience will be joining us here. Absolutely. You can support me by sending stars. Stars help earn to make some more content, and that's from Keith himself there, I believe.
I hate that shows up when I share the show. Sorry about that. You didn't have to.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Thank you for having simulcasting us on your network as well, and appreciate that. Keith, let's get started with the 600-pound gorilla in the room today, the Davante Adams trade to the Jets. We knew this was coming sooner or later, but it came today, and unfortunately, it came when they're playing the Steelers on Sunday, and I thought maybe they might have waited until after the Steeler game, but they made the move, and Davante Adams is with the Jets now. Whether he'll play or not is beside the point. Aaron Rodgers is still with the Jets, and we'll see what goes on there. Your thoughts on this?
Well, to me, it shows a desperation that the Jet organization is under right now, because their season is quickly slipping away, and it's not. Look at, I mean, you can say what you want. Wilson's one of the best receivers in the league in my mind already, and Adams, he's already shown he's talked his way out of two places already in my mind. Aaron Rodgers wants him. It puts more pressure on Aaron Rodgers, puts more pressure on this offensive staff to get the offense right. And to me, Aaron Rodgers, he played better last night, but Aaron Rodgers and this offensive line is the real big problem with this team. And maybe it's the offensive line more than Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know if Davante Adams is going to help if you can't protect your quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. You're exactly right about that. Smokin Jim, your thoughts on the Davante Adams trade today with the Jets?
Man, that was a great move by the Jets. I mean, that was a guy that Aaron Rodgers and him had a lot of success in Green Bay. That's where Adams wanted to go. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers wanted him there. So for them to be able to pull that one off for the price tag that they did, that's really amazing.
All right. I want to thank my wife. She's here with me today because of my eye injury here. She's helping me out in case I need some help trying to find things here as we go along here. Don't forget, on Saturday at 9 a.m., the External Bum Show right here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch platforms. Ralph Williams, Scott Morganroth, Leo Haggerty, and Jeremy Ballrick. And if someone's not going to be part of the show, we usually have a fill-in for it as well. So, and Keith, you're invited anytime you want to come on the show. You're invited to come on.
Happy to pop in sometime. I know a lot of those guys. You guys all do great work. Jeremy pops in my show a lot on Sundays.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of fun with him.
Oh, Jeremy's great, man. On Wednesday, I'm on his football roundtable. So I'm on with him for that at 9 p.m. on his
happy to come on some Saturday morning. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll have you on as well. All right. Let's talk a little bit more, or let's talk a little bit about the NFL this year. Keith, your thoughts on what teams have surprised you so far and what teams have disappointed you so far?
Well, quite frankly, your Steelers have surprised me a bit on the positive side. I thought all along that they'd be better off with Justin Fields. He hasn't been an all-pro quarterback or anything, but he's taken pretty good care of the football, and I think they played pretty good fundamental football, and I like the way that they put this team together. Again, it's a strong division. I expect the Bengals to come back. I expect the Ravens to continue to bounce back, but I think the Steelers have been one of the big surprises. Obviously, the team in Washington, formerly known as the Redskins, they're our big surprise, despite their struggles this past weekend. Who else is say? I gotta take a quick look so I don't forget somebody. There's definitely some disappointments, which we'll certainly get to. Who else? The Chiefs do not surprise me at 5-0. We keep writing the Chiefs off every year. They keep losing wide receivers every year, and all they do is keep winning football games. And to me, they're still the favorite to win this whole thing. The Vikings, obviously. How am I forgetting the Vikings? The Vikings and Sam Darnold. I did not see this coming. I thought I knew who Sam Darnold was, and I don't. Or Kevin O'Connell is just one of the best coaches and quarterback whisperers ever. So the Vikings are certainly a big surprise. The Buccaneers, to me, are a bit of a surprise. And the mediocrity of the NFC West in entirety is a bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah, it is actually. 49ers have lost a couple games this year that I didn't expect them to lose. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on the NFL disappointment and surprises?
The biggest disappointment is the best player in all of football, McCaffrey's maybe out for the year with that calf injury. You know what I mean? That's a disappointment from a fantasy football standpoint. But I think that the biggest surprise is how much better the NFC is than the AFC. I think the NFC, man, there's so many outstanding teams that can not only pass the football, but also run the football and play pretty good defense. So I think that the balance of the scale is moving to the NFC.
Yeah, it is. I believe you're right, Smokin' Jim. I do agree with you on that. Keith, tell me what your thoughts on the new coaches in the NFL this year. Which one do you think is going to succeed the best of all of the new coaches?
Well,
I'm asking you some questions today, am I?
That's okay. I like to think it was Gerard Mayo, but I'm really disappointed. And back to my disappointments a little. I'm disappointed in Gerard Mayo and the Patriots, not so much because of the wins and losses. I've seen a lack of preparation. I see penalties all over the place that shouldn't be. And I see a really bad body language on the sideline. So he's a guy that I'm not terribly enamored with out of the first year. And I was very happy with the hiring of Gerard Mayo. So I'm a little disappointed from that standpoint. Other guys that I think are doing, and by the way, I think the next coach fired is probably going to be down in Jacksonville, talking about guys who are not doing well. Raheem Morris is in a good position in Atlanta, obviously. Even though they made some surprising moves, again, the Michael Penix draft pick still makes me shake my head when you've got a guy who just paid, $40 million a year.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in win now mode, and you draft a backup quarterback does not make a lot of sense to me. I like the job that McDonald has done up in Seattle. Despite them being 3-3, I still think this team will have a very good chance of winning the West, which looks winnable because the 49ers, partly due to what Smokin' Jim was saying before with McCaffrey may be out for the year, and now his backup Mason's got hurt as well. I don't know how badly, but that could leave that division wide open for Seattle or maybe even somebody else to sneak in there. Who knows? Who else is he's not the new coaches? Well, I'll tell you, the newest coach is going to be in for a rough ride. I think Jeff O'Brien in New York. Yeah, I know he's the interim and not necessarily the new hire, but I think there's a guy who's in a position to really fail badly. If things go sideways there, it's going to get really ugly in New York or New Jersey, as you said earlier, for him as well. So just some of and Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's done a good job. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Dan
Quinn. I like some of the assistants he hired. Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've said this many times. He's the reason why Jalen Daniels is doing really well there. So I mean,
great coach staff together, and I'm sure that Kingsbury wants to be a head coach again, and this is a great way to do it because he's going to be in a bright spotlight if this team continues to play well and Jaden Daniels continues to play well. So
I want to thank Keith also for simulcasting us today on his network, TGI Sports Network. Appreciate that as well. Coming up at 5 o'clock, Wrestle Talk with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin, Jim Frazier. We have Jamie Jamison coming on, who is a local independent wrestler and also owner and wrestling promoter who just put on a big show on Saturday of the Pros of Wrestling, Daniel Polinsky, who happens to be the father of Corey Graves. So, Smokin Jim, you still on the air there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I just was checking in with you. So, if you were still on the air. So, okay. Anyway, Keith, let's get started. Or I'm sorry, Smokin Jim, your thoughts on who do you think of the new coaches is going to do the best?
I don't know if we would consider the Atlanta coach a new coach since this is his second time around. But I agree with Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I think that Antonio Pierce needs to be fired. He never should have got a head coaching job. The coaching in for the Patriots is in way over his head. So it's a hit and miss with a lot of the new coaches. I think that the general manager's got to do a little bit better job of searching out and getting guys who's more qualified to be a head coach in the National Football League.
Rick Sherlock says, "Do I have a face made for radio?" I do. He's exactly right.
Well, he says that to me all the time, so I get it.
Know. Hey, I have the voice for radio, though.
You have a great voice for radio, absolutely.
That's right. I'm back on the radio, too. So what about the Vikings coach? Yes, I thought Kevin O'Connell has done an excellent job up there. I was very, very skeptical when Sam Darnold started. I have egg on my face because now he's doing, at least for now, a reasonable job. We'll see what he does. The season's still young.
You and me both, Ralph. You and me both.
Oh yeah, amazing show and topics. Thank you, Hussein here, and thank you also for watching as well. And we're simulcasted today on the TGI Sports Network, which is the network Keith Engle, our guest, is from. And Keith Engle is our guest from the TGI Sports Network. Puts on some great shows on YouTube and Facebook, as well as other platforms. Don't forget, every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m., the Sports Corner Radio Show with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin, Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree, 1250 a.m., 92.5 FM, The Answer here in Pittsburgh. And also, don't forget, we will be posting it on my Facebook page and my also on my X page, Twitter X page as well. I will also post it on my LinkedIn page. Amped Up Sports gets a Sideline Sports and a whole bunch more. Keith, I think I've sent you a copy as well.
Yeah, do me a favor, resend that slide to me so that I can put it in my copy to talk about for you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll send you another copy of it. But
and real quick before you move on, I want to piggyback on something Smokin Jim said about Antonio Pierce. A perfect example of why it is so dangerous to fire a coach during the season and name an interim, and they have some success, and then there's pressure to keep that guy, whether it's from players or fans or whoever it is, and it's often not the right move to make. So it's very dangerous when you make that move in the middle of the season and they have even some modicum of success. Antonio Pierce probably should, as Smokin Jim said, should have never got this job. And it's because he had a little bit of success that everybody got excited at the end of last year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've seen that happen numerous times in the league, Keith, I think, and Smokin Jim, where we've had coaches that were interims and then end up being head coaches and fail because, it just doesn't work for them. But anyway, I want to go over the AFC North real quick. Cleveland, they're 1-5. They lost to the Eagles 20-16. They play Cincinnati, so much for all the teams in the AFC North except the Steelers losing. Somebody's got to win between Cincy and Cleveland. Of course, they could always tie too, But anyway, Cincinnati beat the Giants 17-7, and Baltimore, who is tied with the Steelers in the division, they beat the Commanders, but they have a tough game. They're going down to Tampa to play the Buccaneers, and Baker Mayfield, Smokin Jim's buddy. I think he's going to light it up on Baltimore. I hope he does, because we need Baltimore to lose on that game as well.
How do you think the Cleveland fans feel about Baker Mayfield getting chased out of town now, by the way?
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? They want him out of town. They didn't like him there, and then all of a sudden now he's out of town. Like you said, Keith, and there we are. He's playing for Tampa. He had a really good coach in Dave Canellis last year to work with him and get him straightened out. Now he's got their new offensive coordinator down there. I think I can't remember the kid's name down there that's there now, but yeah. But
Hey, Keith.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith, and Ralph, I don't think the Cleveland ever disliked Baker Mayfield. I mean, he put up 28 touchdowns, which was a rookie record. As a rookie, he won a playoff game against the Steelers. I think, and he was making all the commercials. I think they liked Baker Mayfield, but they thought they was getting a Hall of Fame quarterback in Watson. They thought they was upgrading.
Yeah.
In essence, they thought they was getting Joe Montana.
And now they got shot in the foot on that one.
Yeah,
they got egg on their face.
And Keith, they should have kept Flacco.
Yeah.
For another year.
Yeah.
Because he would have fit in good if you seen that Watson didn't have it anymore, or he was struggling, you could have went right back to Flacco, who's doing a marvelous job in Indianapolis. So they just continue just to shoot themselves in the foot.
That was a team on the rise, and they've done a good job of tearing it down for sure.
Okay, we got about we have about 8 more minutes in the program here, and Keith, can you stay with us here? Because we got about 8 more minutes in the program, and then we got to move on to our wrestling show. I want to talk a little bit about college football, Keith. As you know, the ACC's bundled up with some teams that are actually winning. Pitt's 6-0, Clemson's in there. You have, and a few other folks are in there, teams that are in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty crowded conference. The Big Ten is sort of up in the air a little bit here. We got guys doing this, guys doing that, Colorado doing this, Michigan doing that. The big thing is the Big Ten with some of the teams that transferred in, USC, useless LA, I call them until they start winning again. I call them useless LA. So, but anyway, your thoughts, Keith, on college football this year and some of the teams this year in these?
The SEC has been head and shoulders above everybody. The Big Ten is, I think, even at least a tick below the SEC. And people who were worried about, the 12-team playoff and the regular season not mattering, every Saturday matters now because everybody's beating everybody else, everybody except Texas and Oregon. It's been.
I think we have balanced conferences now. I mean, it's pretty balanced, I think.
I think so too. You make it. You're going to get 5 teams probably from the SEC in this playoff. I'd be shocked if you didn't get 5 teams, unless somebody from. I guess you could see the ACC get 2 teams. I can't see 2 teams coming out of the Big 12 right now. It's an exciting conference. I mean, anybody can beat anybody on every given Sunday. BYU's a huge surprise out there, obviously. In fact, that league looks like it's upside down from what the preseason predictions would have been. But there's every Saturday, and I was worried about, because I've been hard on college football with the stuff off the field, the NIL, the transfer portal, all the lawsuits, and I've tried to concentrate on the game on the field. And I said, if I still feel that energy on Saturdays, which to me Saturdays, and I love the NFL, don't get me wrong, but the energy and the excitement on Saturday is so much more ramped up than on Sunday. And if I still felt the same way, I'd be okay about the game. And so far, I feel that way. The games are exciting. Saturdays are wall to wall from noon to 1 in the morning. You can sit there and watch exciting football all day long. And it's been
the networks have done a really good job, I think. And Smokin' Jim will agree with us on this, I think. They've done a really good job of keeping everybody entertained on Saturday with these games, like you mentioned, Yeah. And I believe that to be the case. Smokin' Jim, your comments on this year's college football season?
I think it's Texas and everybody else. I think Alabama got all the talent in the world, but they're poorly coached.
Yes.
I think it's I thought they hired the wrong coach for the tradition of Alabama. The guys have got a good hit on his shoulder. He's a very good coach, but he has no idea how to coach Alabama. It's a difference down there. And but I just think that Texas have been loading up for a long time, and I think they're loaded, and they're calling everybody. I'm taking Texas against the field.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
That's a good pick. I will say I like Kalen DeBoer. I really do, and I'm going to give him a little pass.
Yeah.
But right now, they did everything they could do to lose that game to South Carolina last Saturday, and they still managed to win. It looked like they were trying to lose the game for a while, but it's always hard, right? Smokin Jim and Ralph both. It's hard to beat a guy who follows a guy. It doesn't matter what job that is, whether it's Mayo following Belichick or DeBoer following,
especially a legend like Nick Saban. I mean, up here in Penn State, when Joe Paterno got fired or let go, and Bill O'Brien had to come up and coach. Yeah. When they were on suspension. I mean, and he still was able to take and make tuna out of tuna and make tuna salad out of tuna.
He did a good job.
So I thought he did too. Yeah.
Well, look, it took Alabama about 25 years to replace the last guy who was the
yes, exactly. That's Bear Bryant, man. We know that. Yes, absolutely. It did take a while for that as well. They had some bums in between. So I mean, but you know what? The real team, Keith and Smokin Jim, I think that I'm real surprised at is Florida. Oh my gosh, the Gators, man. They're kind of stinking up the joint. They haven't been relevant, I think, since Steve Spurrier. I think. I might be wrong, but
Urban Meyer had a good run after Spurrier.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Urban Meyer did too. Yeah, that's right.
all they've really had. People like to think that Florida is this blue blood program, but they've had really 2 runs of success, and that was under Steve Spurrier for about 10 years, and then about 8 or 10, whatever how long Urban Meyer was there, won a couple national championships. But outside of that, it's been pretty mediocre football, and Billy Napier has been in over his head since the minute he got to Gainesville, and he's not getting out alive this year, I don't think.
Oh, I was surprised at a Ron Zook hire. Oh my gosh,
another. Yeah,
I mean, I like Ron Zook. He's a smart coach, a good guy, but it's just he just wasn't the right coach for that team at the time because they expected the Big 10-1s and the and all that. And he was producing 9-3 and 8-4. They weren't happy down there.
No, and personality-wise, he's like the exact opposite of Steve Spurrier when he replaces him. So that's tough. That's a tough.
Absolutely. But now you have all these smaller Florida teams down there now recruiting, and then you got everybody else recruiting down there. So Florida, the Gators might be left out in the cold as far as recruiting goes when you have all these athletes going everywhere else.
Well, and all the Miami schools. Well, Miami's had those issues over the last 20 years. Florida State's had issues the last, except last year was a great year, and they built towards that. But they had some down years after Jimbo kept it alive for a couple of years anyway. But you're right; those kids where there's great talent in Florida, but they don't stay. They don't go to Florida. They don't go to Florida State. They go to UCF. They go to Alabama. They go all over.
Even recruiting better. Golish down there. He's got that team. They almost beat Alabama. I mean, last year. So
they almost beat Miami this year. They played well for a half too. So there's a lot of those. There's a lot of talent still there. It's just getting spread all over the Southeast. That's where it is.
Right. It's not like they all stayed there. Like in Pennsylvania here, we have Western Pennsylvania. We have some great athletes here. They don't stay here. They go everywhere else. And then everybody gets on Pitt. Like, why don't you, and Pitt has kind of laid an egg a little bit. They haven't really gotten any real local players as of late, too many of them, as much as they did before. I think the best one, other than Jackie Sherrill to recruit in Western Pennsylvania, was Dave Wanstadt. He did a really good job of recruiting Western Pennsylvania when he was
big surprise this year, though. The Pitt Panthers have played very good football, and they're undefeated yet. So Narduzzi probably saved his job here, I would think, with this 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I found out today, reached out to some sources as to why Heather Lake was fired. She gave Narduzzi that huge extension after they had, a couple mediocre years, and now they have to eat it because the buyout clause is too high for them to pay to fire him. So that was one of the reasons, and her handling of the NIL, to where they had to go get a committee going to go out and raise funds, and she was poor at doing that, and so that was another story with that. But Pitt is 6-0, and we'll ride the Holstein train until unless it derails. But I hope it don't. He was a little bit exposed this Saturday. California exposed him a little bit.
I was surprised. That's a good football team, though. Cal's better than you think, and that ACC is wide open. I think with Clemson, Miami, and Pittsburgh. Run probably one of those 3 teams should survive, or 2 of those 3 teams should survive to get to conference championship. It's going to be a matter of whether they can get two teams to the playoff or not.
All right, I'm going to run down some local football scores here real quick and some games here. Northeast Conference, Duquesne. They won this week 38-7. They beat St. Francis of Pennsylvania, and they will be playing Stonehill coming up. And Robert Morris, they beat. Let me see here. Who did they beat here? If I can see them correctly here. Oh, Delaware State 23-9. Robert Morris lost a game to Edinburgh. Ever since then, they've won every game so far. Since then, Robert Morris is moving along here as well. And they play host to St. Francis of PA on the 26th. And then on the 19th, they will be playing Long Island U. And the Riverhounds, our soccer team here, Keith, they finally beat the Charleston Battery. But one of the teams, them in Louisville, have been a nightmare for the Riverhounds. They finally beat them 2-0. And this week they play London United. They're not from London. They're from some city named London in the United States here. But anyway, and then 26, they play El Paso FC in El Paso. We're going to go around here. Keith, any final thoughts before we let you go here?
It's a great time for football. We got the college football sports. I'm sorry, we got the college football hitting their stride at midseason. The NFL getting towards midseason, and teams finally starting to play some better football after very little spring and very little summer practicing. And we got Major League Baseball here in New York. We got the Mets and the Yankees. I'm a Yankee fan myself. Fighting to get to a Subway Series maybe. So it's an exciting time. This is the best time of year for sports because you got basketball and hockey starting up in a few weeks too, and it's there's no better time than October and early November.
Well, I will say one thing before you leave is that finally the Dodgers made it past the first round of the
There you go.
Oh my! Smokin' Jim, any final thoughts before we let Keith go?
Yeah, I got a nice little trivia question I think Keith would enjoy. When was the last time that the New York Jets had an in-season coach resign or get fired?
Oh, that's a good one. How about
Rich Coltite?
Nope.
No.
Close.
Rex Ryan.
Close.
I'm getting closer. Okay.
I'm trying to think of the guy who left and went to Virginia. I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name either, Keith.
Was
Man,
that
got me stumped. I know who you're talking about too. Oh, gee whiz, I can't remember that guy's name.
He was on Bill Parcells' staff, and he got the job, and Bill Belichick didn't take it.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name now.
Well, that was after the season.
Oh, okay.
Was that after the season?
Yeah.
In season.
I'll say Todd Bowles. Then I'll say Todd Bowles.
Close. 1976. Resigned with one game remaining.
Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz. Oh my gosh. I even forgot he coached in the NFL, Smokin' Jim. Thanks for reminding me.
Hey, Lou wanted to forget he coached the Jets too. Lou didn't appreciate the time here.
Oh my gosh. I used to fight with this guy when I drove a cab, Keith. He loved Notre Dame. Oh my God. He loved Lou Holtz. And he had this sign up where Lou Holtz said, "I learn more by listening than talking." And I've always kind of said that as well, because I think he's right sometimes, So, Keith, thank you for being part of the program. Really appreciate you being here today. And we'll talk with you another time. Thanks for promoting us and helping us out as well. And let me see. Let's go to the comments section real quick here. Let's see what we got here. All right. Let's see. Okay, I got the Vikings coach. What do we got here? Amazing show and topics. Thank you for that as well. And also, hey, enjoying the show. All right. Thank you for being part of the and Linda McGrath says, "Hi, Ralph and Keith Engle." Thank you, Linda
McGrath from National Streaming Sports.
Oh, great. I'd like to talk with her. Maybe have her on the show sometime. There we go. All right. Keith, you have yourself a great one. Once again, thank you as always, my friend. You have a great day. And we'll talk to you again. Keith Engle from TGI Sports Talk. And we're simulcasted on there today. Smokin' Jim, any final thoughts before we move on? Because we got to do our wrestling show.
No.
All right. For Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. This has been the Sports Corner Show. Coming up Wrestle Talk. We have a couple guests on today. We'll be right back right in a few moments. Thank you.